Here is a tutorial on how to put strip lashes and gems on your face for an easy and cute everyday makeup, no makeup look, while I talk to you guys about natural hair and why black women, especially those who are getting used to their natural hair as adults, should be given grace, especially when they express their irritation and frustration with their natural hair when they have never before had to build a relationship with their natural hair because we were all using substitutes to take care of our natural hair. And if you had a mom who cared, she was probably doing your hair for you. Okay? I hope y'all enjoy. Thank you, and please add your input in the comments. Bye bye. It makes sense. There is a learning curve that comes with natural hair. Natural hair is beautiful, but we cannot lie to ourselves and say that there isn't a learning curve that comes with natural hair, just like there is a learning curve that comes with every other type of hair. Okay, because natural hair is really just what we refer to as black hair, but it is normal hair. Okay, and the only reason why the learning curve is seen as a negative thing or as derogatory or disrespectful to natural hair is because black women have been presented with options and substitutions for maintaining our actual hair. That doesn't mean maintaining our actual hair. Like, we are exposed to substitutes from the time we are kids. And now I'm not talking about like puffs or bobble buns or those other like little styles. I'm not really talking about cornrows. I'm not talking about hairstyles that don't require extensions. I'm talking about hairstyles that require extensions that we as black women have been exposed to from the time we were kids. Okay? So that's why the learning curve is there, especially when we are adults. Why it's sometimes hard to deal with our hair because we didn't have the opportunity, some of us didn't have the opportunity to build a relationship with our hair to the point where working with our natural hair is comfortable like other races did. Other races don't have the substitutions and the options that black people do. Point blank, period. Like, for the most part, the only real substitutions that they have are like texture changes. The texture change is still manageable. They still go through periods of time where they struggle with their hair, right? They still go through those periods, right? But it's not the same as ours because for the most part they still have to keep their hair out. Like, we as black women, our options are so expansive that we don't have to keep our natural hair out. We didn't have to keep our natural hair out. We had the opportunity to go from braids to more braids to more braids to more braids to more braids with other people maintaining, washing, drying, conditioning, detangling, putting leave-in conditioner, blowing out our hair for us. So all that time that we could have spent building a relationship with our hair, because a relationship takes work, no matter what kind of relationship it is. A relationship takes work, period. And the relationship that you have with your hair is the same kind of relationship that you have with your friends or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your spouse, whoever it is that you're with. If you don't build the relationship, if you don't get to know them, get to know things from the beginning, of course you're gonna have that learning curve where it's like you barely know the fucking person. Like of course you're gonna have the learning curve where it's like you barely know your hair. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense that there are, unfortunately, it makes sense that there are black women who still have never created that relationship with their natural hair. And we really, I made another video about this earlier, but we, as Black women who have come to an understanding about our natural hair, we need to stop being surprised that there are so many people who do not have a good relationship with their natural hair. Like, we need to stop that stupid ass shit. Excuse my French, but we need to stop that stupid ass, fake ass disbelief. Bro, do you know how many women have had their hair permed or relaxed since fucking birth? Who have never had to deal with their curl pattern. They have never had to deal with it. And when they now have the opportunity to deal with it, it's like they're starting at kindergarten and all of their peers are at fucking middle school and high school. It's like presenting a calculus problem to somebody who has only ever done addition and subtraction. They haven't even gotten to multiplication and division, but you want to try to get them, but you want to get mad at them for not knowing how to do a calculus, a derivative equation. Like, and we need to also stop acting like, to an extent, having a straighter hair type isn't easier. We really need to stop doing that. I'm sure that other hair types, the looser hair types, because I don't really think I want to be referring to them as natural hair, or referring to our hair as natural hair. But maybe I will just to get you guys to understand my differentiation. But we need to stop acting like having straight hair isn't kind of easier to manage, to deal with, to brush through, to comb through, to trim, to get through single strand knots with. We need to stop acting like that. It is not a Black woman's reality, bro. We need to stop acting like that because we make ourselves look a little silly, a little dumb, you know? Like, aside from people who have like wavy hair or hair that springs up, to get a proper trim, Black women do have to blow their hair out, right? And even that is dependent on what it is that they do with their hair on a daily basis. But the majority of Black women who want to get a trim that is even a straight across trim or even a U trim have to straighten their hair or blow it out to the minimum, right? At the minimum, blow it out, right? So when we have that as a method of maintenance, that is already creating a barrier for us, right? So when we think about white women and their hair is already straight. So they don't need to blow it out for the most part to get a trim. Their hair grows downward, right? So they can see the growth visibly. Black women's hair grows upward, and it's like attracts like. Our hair loves to grow into each other like a bush. If you've ever looked at a bush, there is no organized growth pattern for a bush. For the most part, there is no organized growth pattern for how a bush grows. Just like natural hair or a Black woman's curly, 4C, kinky hair. It does not have an organized growth pattern. It just grows into an afro. Or it grows into, let's just say an afro, because I'm not sure how I would categorize the other types of growth for the looser textured natural hair girlies, right? So, a white woman's hair who has straight hair, somebody with straight hair, right? Their hair grows in a pattern. It grows straight, bro. It grows straight. It has an organized and predictable pattern. Now, I'm not going to say that they don't have more than one texture in their hair. Maybe some of them do. But even still, it's still going to be looser than what you see on a good portion of black women, right? Which is why it is understandable that there are so many black women who prefer to be straight naturals because it's easier to see the growth. It's easier to see what needs to be worked on. It's easier, period. It's more predictable. When something is more predictable, it is indeed easier to work with, period. We cannot deny that. When something is predictable, it is easier to work with, right? It is easier to manage. It's easier to get trends from it, period, right? And it's especially easier if you have a relationship with it. Like, duh. When people work in, because I have a background in biology, right? So, one thing I really loved about chemistry, because that's one of the classes that I had to take when I was an undergrad, is that for the most part, if you studied, there were never any surprises in the material because it added up onto each other. There was a pattern. If we had to do Boyle's law, if we had to use Boyle's equation, we knew that we were exposed to the different elements of that equation, right? If we have to learn about velocity, we were exposed to the concepts of mass, acceleration, right? If you have to learn about English and how to write an essay, we were exposed to sentences, we were exposed to paragraphs, we were exposed to those things. We were given the elements so that there was a process in place for us to prosper. But that is not always the case for natural hair, especially when you grow up having somebody else deal with it for you. You have somebody else braiding your hair for you. You have somebody else combing your hair for you. If you're not doing something firsthand, of course you're going to have struggles. Period. Of course you're going to have difficulties. Of course there's going to be a learning curve. And of course you might get frustrated. You might not like it. You might hate it. You might have a strong dislike for it. You might have disdain for it. You might disrespect it. You might get upset with people who have gone through it, right? You might get upset with your parents for giving you that. You might get upset with people who make fun of you for going through the learning curve, right? For my girls who have ever experienced a not so good twist out in public, and you didn't know that the twist out didn't look cute until you looked at pictures later, and it did not look like a twist out, right? You're gonna feel embarrassed. You're gonna feel upset. All of those emotions are natural, just as natural as our natural hair, right? So it's just as women grow up and embrace their natural hair, there are so many things that are still currently being discovered about natural hair, its qualities, its behaviors, its traits. And then you have to also think about how there are some women who are going to go through menopause. They're going to go through hormonal changes. Oh my God, don't even get me started on women who have hormonal imbalances. They have vitamin deficiencies because having low vitamin D and low iron can and will fuck up your natural hair. It will inhibit your growth. It will make it look like your hair is not growing. It'll make it thin, it'll make it fragile, it'll make it frail, right? Those are all of the things that we already also have to deal with as well, right? So when we have all of those factors that we were never properly introduced to, of course there's going to be struggles. Of course the struggles are going to be audible. Now, I'm not saying that the disrespect and the hate that comes with having natural hair is warranted, but it is to an extent understandable. It is understandable. I'm not going to say that it doesn't make sense, right? I'm not going to say that it's not mean. I'm not going to say that it's not cruel. But sometimes it is easier to just leave your hair in braids and just keep getting braids, or to get a wig, because then you don't have to build that relationship. You don't have to get to know your hair. You don't have to try and force a relationship with something you're unfamiliar with. And we need to have more grace for people who are starting their journey with their natural hair and they don't like what they see. Because I haven't even touched on the fucking societal aspects of natural hair. Growing up, being made fun of for having kinky hair, for having cotton hair, for having nappy hair. When have you ever heard nappy headed be used in a positive connotation except when have you ever heard of nappy headed being used in a positive connotation? We only ever hear nappy headed ass hoe, nappy headed boy, and nappy headed girl. What are you gonna do with your hair? Is that how you want to style your hair? In movies, TV shows, everything. We need to stop. We need to stop acting like society has not pit black women against their hair. And we also need to stop acting like just because the natural hair movement has come doesn't mean the natural hair movement hasn't gone away and come back and gone away. I still have more to say, but thank you for watching and listening. Bye bye.